John, thank you for joining me on the Fit Side. So a little bit about my channel is my goal is to try and get a little bit more of the Australian community out. Like there's heaps of well-known vloggers and stuff, and they seem to focus a lot more on the big dogs that everyone already knows, but I'm really more interested in sharing like the Australian population who's up and coming through Australia. And when I was going through who went through the Opens and then who made through the quarterfinals, I noticed that you came ninth in the quarterfinals after coming 34th in the Opens. Do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself? Like, what's your backstory? Because I know you actually have a pretty cool one.
I actually got into CrossFit through my brother. So I'd been training with him, trying to learn like some strength and conditioning stuff. Because when I was younger, I'd started off boxing and then gave up boxing and sort of got pretty fat and lazy on the couch. And then he just said, look, come in, start training, like get back into shape and start doing something productive. It's probably about 6 months of that, just doing like Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I remember thinking like we were really fit because Saturdays we would do a conditioning session. So it's like once a week we were doing conditioning, which I thought we were epic for being fit. And then he said to me, come in and try CrossFit. So I went in, like I was very hesitant about trying CrossFit, especially back then. It was like pretty well known for a bunch of fails and all that sort of stuff.
How long ago was that?
It would have been 2013. We were training in a powerlifting gym.
I got into CrossFit.
Oh, sweet, sick.
Yeah.
And then we were just like, I remember walking in the gym and I saw he's my coach now, Jem. I walked in and I saw him back squatting 180 for reps.
Wow.
And I was like, oh, who's that dude? And my brother told me that was the CrossFit coach. So I was like, yeah, okay, I guess I'll give it a crack. Like, if that dude can look like that and be that fit and strong, I was like, I think it's worth having a crack at.
Oh, absolutely.
And then, it absolutely kicked my ass trying to do the first session. So I was hooked.
Do you remember your first session? What was the workout?
I can't remember what the strength component was before, but the workout was a 7-minute AMRAP, 5 deadlifts at 140, and it was meant to be 7 handstand push-ups, but I scaled to push-ups.
Yeah.
And even for the deadlifts, I was like, yeah, 140, I've done that for a set of 5, like I'll be fine. And I think I did 1 round and then just felt my heart rate go through the roof. And I was like, I don't understand how these people are still moving, but
yeah,
it was awesome fun. So
that's so good. My first workout that I CrossFit workout was Fran, and I was on a PDI course with the military, and we were doing strength and conditioning component. I was like, I can do strict pull-ups, I'm good. I don't need a band. Yeah. I got through the 21s and with a 30-kilo thruster, and then I had to go all the way to a big, thick green band, and I was still struggling. And then I had to strip the bar down to 15 kilos, and I remember that the guy who was like the CrossFit coach, who was also a PDI at the time, he was like helping me lift the empty bar in the 15s and the 9s, and I was so weak back then. And I was like, never doing CrossFit again. It's so embarrassing. And then like 6 months later, I started CrossFit.
Come back again, yeah. I had the first time Jem ever tried to show me how to kip, I had a pretty similar thing. I was like, man, I can do strict pull-ups. I don't need to kip. And then, it was a humbling experience by the time we finished the workout. And I was like, yeah, please teach me how to kip.
I tell everyone when I speak to them now, the first thing I'll say is the beauty about CrossFit is even if people think that they are fit before they come to CrossFit, everyone gets an ass kicking on their first workout. No one, no matter how fit you were before or how good you thought you were, you come into CrossFit and everyone starts on the same level. You are all shit. And you don't start good.
It's true, man. Like so many I get so many people from different background sports, and even when they're really efficient at their sport and they have a level of fitness, it's just a different kind of stimulus that their body's not ready for.
Yeah.
And I think it does catch a lot of people off guard, especially when they come from another background.
So the last time I actually saw you was at the ACC, so the Australian CrossFit Champs, and that was before the world became crazy. And then, so at ACC, I can't remember how you placed or anything. how's your training changed since then to place like 10th in the Oceania, sorry, 9th in the Oceania in the quarterfinals? What have you done since then?
I think a lot of it was being able to experience that kind of competition with, like, a lot of the weights were heavier than what I would usually see for class workouts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like say even the dumbbells being, I think they were 30 or 35 odd kilo dumbbells, thrusters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I definitely ramped that up a little bit. And to be honest, I think just getting to finally have that experience and see what those guys move like and how they move, and realizing that it's very possible to be there with them is sort of just gave me that next little step up in. I remember, so for me, probably the biggest standout was Baden Brown at that comp. And I was watching the way he transitioned, and Jay Crouch does the same, where watching their transitions was very different to how I would usually transition. I was used to, I'd do a big set or I'd do a piece of work fast and then just kind of mosey on to the next station. There was no real sense of urgency between the transitions.
Yeah.
And then I'd watch those guys, and they're like, their pace of the movement might be a tiny bit slower, but their transitions were so aggressive, and there was no wasted time anywhere. So that was a really wicked learning experience to be able to sort of sit front row to watch that.
How was that finish?
Oh, it was fun.
Yeah.
It was really fun. Yeah. It's wicked being able to face each other like that.
Yeah.
Because it gives you something to watch and something to push for as well. Like, especially going into the last round at Sandbags on the 27. I blew up my biceps pretty bad, pulling a little bit too much of my arms, I think, on the 18. But because I could see him the other side, and I know he'd been that little bit in front of me the whole time, I'm like, okay, you have to go and switch on a little bit. I think I got the time at the end, yeah. But I don't know what our differences was, or if they ended up doing us a tie, but I think I did get it. So
yeah, how you feeling after yesterday?
Really good, really happy. I coming into the weekend knew that I wanted to get, there was a few experiences I wanted to get, and I pretty much got to experience all of them in day one. So now stress is gone, can enjoy the rest of the weekend, have fun, and just try and send every workout as much as possible.
Awesome. All right, well, good job for the rest of the weekend.
Awesome, thank you.
Whose programming do you follow?
I follow Jem's program, Legion Strength and Conditioning. I've followed him since day one.
So you train at that gym, or
yes,
do you own that gym, or?
No, Jem owns the gym, and he still does the programming, stuff like that. I just take the classes.
So you coach at that gym?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. And what kind of stuff does he program for you? Like, do you train with the class, or do you train separate to the class, or do you do a mixture of both, or?
Kind of a mixture of both. I do still really enjoy being able to go in and be part of the classes and still jump in and work with people as well. And for a lot of it, sometimes I'll just get a variation of the class workout, so I can still jump in and work with them and be in that environment. I just find being in an environment where I can train with people and make it fun rather than a chore. I get a lot more out of it. As well as, like, we have an extras program that I'll follow, and then if I want extra bits on top of that, I'll just message him and we'll sort of go. I like being able to take it day by day in that way, where like I might pull up one day way more beat up than what I thought, so it's good to be able to have him just to chop and change as we go.
Were you surprised with coming 9th after the quarterfinals, or did the workouts when they got released for you like, this is my jam, I'm going to do well?
I think, to be honest, a bit of both. I really liked the look of the workouts, and I was definitely excited for trying them, but I was still pretty surprised with how I placed. Even coming from the open, I really enjoyed the open workouts, and I placed 34th in them, I think it was.
Yes, yeah.
So to have such an improvement was pretty cool. But I enjoy that competition style structure a bit more. I find I seem to, even in local comps that I do here, I prefer being in person and having that feeling of you have a few to get done each day rather than that real max out one time. Yeah, I think I just perform better when it's how well can you maintain work capacity under fatigue like that.
Was there a specific order that you did the workouts in, or did you just go in the order that they were released, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
The only thing I changed was, oh no, sorry, two things I changed. I did the front squats before the pistols, and then
the first workout, the handstand push-up one, and then did the front squats.
yeah, so I went handstand push-up one in the morning, and then front squats and pistols in the evening.
Yep.
Then I tested test 5 on the Saturday morning, and then I forgot what number it was, but the row and wall ball one, we did that
4.
Saturday afternoon.
Yep.
Yeah, so that was Saturday afternoon, and then I retested the power snatch one on Sunday morning.
How come you redid number 5?
I was just really unhappy with how I attacked the workout. I think I went a bit too conservative the first time, expecting to have to maintain energy for later on.
Yeah.
And then when I finished it, I kind of realized like I probably could have just gotten that set of 9 out of the way and been fine anyway.
Yeah.
And I had a fairly big difference in the scores, so I think that was a good decision.
Yeah, because I spoke to Christy Hollard maybe Monday, I think it was Monday, and she did the exact same thing. So she did the same order as you, and she did number 5, and then she did number 4, and then she redid number 5 on the Sunday, and she did way better, like shaved like over a minute off her time. So how were your abs after all those GHDs?
Man, not good. I've started adding a lot more GHDs and core work in since then, just purely like volume style, to try and never experience that level of DOMs again, because that was like almost a week before I felt like doing a sit-up. So
well, I went and competed at a comp last weekend, and there was people like not elite level athletes, like just general people who made into that top 10%, who had done the quarterfinals, and there was toes to bar at the comp on the weekend, and they were still struggling. Actually,
the team of guys that I did the workouts with, we were just like, I don't want to see an ab crunch or a sit up or a toe to bar ever again. Like, it was one thing that really caught me off guard in that workout as well, with how hard it felt to lift my legs for the rope climbs.
Yeah,
that was pretty brutal. Like,
yeah,
but I really like the structure that they've picked now, of the way they've done the open in 3 weeks and then to that quarterfinal style. I really enjoy that. I think that's my favorite structure they've ever done.
I was going to ask you how you like the new structure, like how it goes from the opens to the quarterfinals with the top 10%, and then goes on to Touring Pro, and then goes on to the games from there. So you like the new structure?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's wicked. And I think even like it's having that structure where it's one, I mean, to be honest, that 5 weeks of the open, those last couple of weeks get brutal, and it just feels like you've been in that forever.
Yeah.
But doing 3 was a really pleasant, like, just it felt like a bit of a gift. But then having the experience of like that quarterfinals is what it feels like to do a comp. You still have to come in and try and max out when, you know, like your legs are fried or your shoulders are fried, and you're like, cool, I need to. And I don't think a lot of people who in previous years have gotten stuck in the open really get to experience that.
Yeah.
Whereas I really like that they're taking that top 10% and giving them that experience still.
Yeah, like this was my first year. I didn't do the opens this year, so I moved and everything, and I just haven't been in the right mindset. So I just thought, no, I'm just gonna take this year off. And then like I did the last couple of workouts, and I went back to Albury and I watched my friend Jade. She did the quarterfinals with a couple of other people at her gym. And I think it's great. Like, it sort of reminds me, like I was saying, someone when I was at Touring Pro, I was on a Pro-Am team, like the pairs one. And then the last workout, they let us go out onto the stadium. And anyway, you get that kind of experience that even though we're not elite athletes or anything, we still got to run through the tunnel, through the little tarps that they have, and then everyone else it's like a whole packed stadium, and they're all watching us and cheering for us, and we kind of got that moment where it felt like we were like athletes as well. I mean, we're athletes but not like elite athletes, but you feel like it in that moment. And I think with the quarterfinals and how they're letting all these people have that exposure, It really lets them tap into the mindset of the elite athletes and kind of experience what they're going through. I mean, personally, I probably wouldn't have recommended half of the field to do 180 GHD sit-ups, but whether or not they even got there, got that many out, but still, like, one of the guys who did at the gym I was at never had even done a GHD sit-up in his life, and he got like, I think into the 20s or something, and I was just like, oh, your abs are going to be fried.
That dude's going to have a hard time. Yeah. Yeah.
But I like the new format too. I think it's really, really good. So you train over in WA. For some reason, Western Australia produces some top athletes over there. What is in the water over there? It's like being in Tumut with the McMahon brothers.
Man, I think, do you know what a big part of it is? I think is the attitude a lot of us have over here. Like, Perth's a pretty small place, so there's not really a lot of opportunities for us to train with big name athletes or really well-known guys, because they're usually all over east. And a lot of the guys that I came up competing with that all now like do quite well when they go over to these events, they're like, I'm good friends with them, and we will catch up, we'll go do training sessions, or when we compete with each other, it's like, don't get me wrong, we're all competitive. So, you know, between 3, 2, 1, go and stop, it's pretty competitive in that way. But so like the last comp I did, I'd do my workouts, I'd finish, we'd go out the back to like where all the tents and stuff were set up. And I was hanging out with, like, I've got my gym and the guy who's probably my #1 competitor at the time sitting in the tent next to me, and we're all hanging out and having lunch together and chilling.
Who's your #1 competitor?
I'd say probably Jono Dunlop.
Oh,
is the guy who I keep my eyes on the most.
I've done a vlog with him when I went to Perth at the start of last year.
Yeah, he's an awesome dude, man. I really like him.
He's so fit.
Yeah, and his body looks like fake. He's a very handsome dude, and he's just like jacked everywhere.
Oh, and how big are his quads? Holy crap!
I just so it puts us in this position though where, like, I've got people like that, and there's him, there's another guy, Kieran Power, who I compete with a fair bit. But yeah, like, for us to be able to still, I mean, I chat to them about what training they do, how they found structuring their training works best for them, what their nutrition is, all that sort of stuff. And they're so open and giving with information that there's a lot of other, I mean, there's just other situations you've been in or other sports you've been in where people don't want to give you that information. They all try and like play their cards close to their chest, and they feel like they're giving away a secret.
But when I was speaking to Jono when I was over there, he said that you guys, all like chat together and stuff. And, you know, I suppose Perth is a nice, I mean, I thought it was nice. So it's a nice place to live.
I like it over here. It's good.
My husband needs to move there so bad.
You should, man. It's awesome here. I mean, it's definitely, I can't really speak for it because I haven't spent much time in other cities, but apparently it feels like a bit of a retirement village version of some of the other capitals. But I think, man, like, just even in training and like talking to those guys, my mindset towards that stuff is that information is out there anyway. So why not just short track instead of making them go research and find a bunch of stuff? Because at the end of the day, you can have all that information unless you're the one acting on it and you're actually dedicated enough to follow it, and you've got to outwork the other guy anyway. So like, I don't want to compete against people that have been shortchanged in some way or hindered by something. I want to compete against what's the best version of those people that they can produce. So then I know whether or not I've worked hard enough to be the best. Because for me, it's more of a, I can handle losing if someone beats me, but I don't like the idea of just getting like participation medal style, like you got through because no one else was aware of what was going on, or I had some secret that got me through, you know?
Yeah. That's like, I totally agree. I think that, and plus it means that you're like helping someone else. Like, they might end up beating you one time, but at least you know that you were a part of their journey too. like, and they might have been a part of yours. So yeah, I'm not sure why people do that. So some people like to do it, some people don't, and obviously you WA people do not do that.
No. Hopefully it stays that way. I'd like.
Yeah. So when are you planning on heading over to Brisbane before the Torian Pro?
Probably on the Tuesday before. I think is it the 25th or 26th?
I think
it's the Tuesday of that week anyway.
Okay, so yeah, you'll give yourself a few days to settle in, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Are you excited for the Torian Pro?
Yeah. Even before it was like the semi-finals, Torian was always something I thought would be really like.
So
I'd
you
watch their
done it before, I'm guessing.
No, I never made Torian before, so it was pretty cool to be able to. I always wanted to make it the regionals.
Yeah.
And then that got changed, so I never got to make it as a regionals athlete. So I kind of feel like I got best of both worlds with this. I got to go. Well, I say it like it's past tense. I get to go to Torian, and I get to feel like I've made a regionals appearance as well. So
that's pretty much
really
what
cool.
it is, I suppose. Did you only do ACC, or have you done other big comps?
I'd say the only other thing that would be in any way comparable was going as a team to regionals. But as far as individual, ACC is the only sanctioned event that I did.
Yeah. When did you go teams to regionals?
Ooh. I think it was 2017 or 2018. And that was awesome. That was wicked fun. First time experiencing like a stadium. And sorry?
What was your team's name?
Legion.
Oh, okay. That must have been the last year that they had regionals. That'd be 2018 probably.
Yeah. That was an awesome experience. That was cool.
Well, I've always, I went to Torian, and it was just, and I was only on a pro amateur team, so like the below, and it was a pairs team, and just that experience was like unreal. It was so good. And we had like these little pro cards and stuff, we could go anywhere. So like we were just chatting to Rich Froning in the hallway and stuff, and it was just like, oh, whatever. Like we're just chatting to him and stuff, and like trying to show and Tia and all that. Like Tia wasn't competing or anything, but it was just, it was very, very exciting. And the atmosphere there is amazing, because the stands, like where everyone sits, is literally like you can reach your arm out across the thing and just like high five each other and stuff. It's like you're like pretty much sitting on the floor with some of the athletes if you're in the gold seating area. So it's super cool. So you should definitely be excited about that. I'm a bit devo that I'm not going. All right. I have one other question. When you're at ACC, after every video, you go like this. What is behind this? Is this for something? Obviously, it's to say thank you.
Yeah, it's kind of. I was telling someone about this before, and it's a little bit of a lackluster story, but it was just during one of the competitions, finished a workout, and then like had that reaction from the crowd, and I think it was kind of just a bit of a nervous reaction to just like say thank you and bow, and then for some reason it just kind of stuck, and then just became a bit of a habit. Like,
so do you still do it?
Yeah. It's kind of just like a bit of an acknowledgement to everyone for coming out, and an acknowledgement to the people that have been there to support you as well, and like all the people, because this is the thing with this sort of training. I have the privilege of being very selfish with my time, because other people allow me to be very selfish with my time. And put a lot of time into myself, into my own training, and into my own, like even something as little as when I go home, like I don't eat dinner with my partner. I prep my own meals and eat my own meals, and then she has to take care of herself.
Sounds like
so it's kind of just
relationship.
It's kind of I think it's just a bit of a thank you to everyone, and kind of I guess just something to do rather than just stand there having people watch me.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I mean, when I spoke to you at ACC, I was like, this guy is so nice, just so nice.
Thank you.
And you always seem like super grateful. Like, it's really nice when you talk to people and they actually appreciate you talking to them. So yeah, like that's my memory of you at ACC. So, and one other question. So you always train with, I did ask you this, you always train with your shirt tucked in. Why? It looks like the good kid at school, but I know you do have a story to do with this.
So that started when I was in high school, because when I get fat, I don't get like fat everywhere. I just get an apron gut. It seems to be the only place that fat goes. And it's I really used to hate it and get hell embarrassed. So I had this like little flap I could actually shake on the bottom of my stomach. So I went to a private school, so we had to tuck our shirts in and wear a belt. And so to hide being fat, I would tuck my fat into the belt and tuck my shirt in.
I can't even picture you being fat because like you're so lean.
Thank you. No, that's kind of the good, I suppose, well, good and bad to it is like even when I put weight on, my arms and legs don't really put any weight on, but it just all hangs on my stomach. And I think it just became a bit of a comfort thing. Like I like the feeling of everything being real secure and on me. It's kind of funny because when I'm training, I take my shirt off about as fast as humanly possible. I guess just because I'm comfortable like being in my own gym.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like I like having it tucked in, feels neat and tidy and feels like a little bit of a security, like we're ready to go.
Yeah. Well, it goes to show that even top level athletes still have their things, and it's not just other people. Everyone has their little body issues or their worries about things and stuff, and I guess it's only going to be, that's your thing and that's how we'll always remember you. So yeah, something that you can have for you and distinguish you from other people. So who looks after you? Do you follow a plan? Do you work with someone?
So I don't really work with them as in like a personal relationship with them. But there's a guy named Stan Efferding and he does something called the vertical diet. And I actually started it after I got back from ACC last year. And man, that's made a big difference. It's helped me a lot. It's a lot of steak and a lot of rice. But he's got a few things in there, like just removing certain foods, and I have bone broth with almost every meal now. And so if for people like before I was doing this, I used to always be real gassy and stuff. I think it's kind of normal, especially for a lot of the dudes when we're trying to have a bunch of protein shakes or have a bunch of you're just trying to get calories in. You don't always pick the best foods.
Yeah.
But the diet I've been following with him has completely, I mean, I don't even really need to fart anymore.
Wow, that is, I might need to get my husband on this.
Probably a bit too much information, but it's I was shocked with how much his diet changed just day-to-day life.
So you started that after the ACC and you've just been doing that since? And it's just made a difference.
Yeah.
It hasn't put like how you feel or performance as well?
I think it's changed my performance a lot as well. Like probably a big thing for me was when I started. So for about maybe a week or so, I just tracked whatever I was normally eating to try and get a baseline of how many calories I was eating. And I was only eating like 2,500 through the week.
2,500. I eat 2,000 a day.
But my weekends would just be like mass amounts of junk food and
okay, yeah. So you're like binge eating on the weekends.
Yeah, I was probably getting a good 4,000 on a Saturday, Sunday, just from being a fatty. But and then so I just now I'm a lot more consistent. I'm having pretty much like 4,000 a day now consistently.
Yeah,
but it was nuts to go like. I slowly built that over a few months, and my body weight hasn't changed at all. I think my body composition has changed a bit, but my body weight stayed within pretty much half a kilo of where I started from.
Wow. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I find like the consistency of the calories is probably the biggest thing. And then getting your micronutrients and stuff in, I think has made a massive difference. It's definitely made my training more consistent.
Yeah.
I don't go through waves of like one day I'm really good, the next day I'm falling asleep. So that's been awesome. That's made a big difference as well.
Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, thanks for chatting with me. Good luck with Toronto Pro. If I don't get to go, I'll definitely be watching it and we'll be cheering from you. And yeah, my husband's best friend lives in Perth. So
yeah,
he wants to go over and visit super bad again. So next time we go over, we'll definitely drop in and we can actually do a face-to-face kind of one of these where we kind of like film for a day and we just come and work out with you and stuff and get to know you and kind of like follow around your daily routine and stuff. So if you're keen to do one of that, I'd be keen.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.